everyone. So that takes us to item 2D, which is our final recognition, but very sweet. It is a special recognition item 2D, a proclamation recognizing the 50th anniversary of Interfaith Works. That's 50, the 50th anniversary. And with that, we have appropriately so a shared reading of the proclamation, beginning with Councilmember Cooper.
Cheers to another 50. Whereas the mission of Interfaith Works is social justice and peace through interfaith understanding and cooperation, and
whereas the vision of Interfaith Works is rooted in interfaith commitment to sacredness of life, envisioning a world where each and every person is safe, housed, free to be their authentic self, deeply loved and engaged in the community, and
whereas Interfaith Works has a legacy of promoting interfaith understanding and collaboration in the community through social justice, community support, and educational endeavors, and
whereas for half a century, Interfaith Works has been a pillar of compassion, justice, and collaboration in the Olympia community and Thurston County, tirelessly advocating for the dignity of all people, regardless of faith, background, or circumstance, and
whereas Interfaith Works provides critical services to Olympia's most vulnerable residents, including shelter, advocacy, and essential resources for individuals experiencing homelessness, poverty, and social isolation, affirming the inherent worth of every person, and
whereas today we honor the dedication of the staff, volunteers, faith leaders, and supporters who have sustained Interfaith Works for 50 years, their unwavering commitment being a testament to the power of interfaith collaborations. And
now, therefore, be it resolved that the Olympia City Council celebrates and recognizes 50 years of Interfaith Works and encourages all community members to reflect on the important contributions this organization makes in our community and to continue supporting the work that brings us together as a compassionate and united community. Signed in the city of Olympia, Washington, this 17th day of September 2024, Olympia City Council, Eung Wen, Mayor Pro Tem.
Now I'd like to please invite up Meg Martin, Executive Director of Interfaith Works, to accept the proclamation. Oh, and I see we have another person. Meg, would you please introduce them? Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you so much. I'm Meg Martin. I'm the Director of Integrative Services for Interfaith Works.
And I'm Thierry Lino. I'm the Director of Homeless Services for Interfaith Works.
For those of you who don't know, Interfaith Works is a coalition of over 30 faith and spiritual communities with the mission of social justice and peace through interfaith understanding and taking meaningful actions together in service of a better world. Our two main expressions of work in the community are through interfaith relations and homeless and housing services. We operate a 24/7 shelter at Unity Commons, a daytime resource center open 6 days a week called Sergio's, and a newly opened permanent supportive housing program in the old Olympia Inn called Sandy's Flats. And since I haven't been here in a while, and it's our 50th, I hope you'll allow me a few minutes. Tonight, we are super grateful for this incredible recognition from the City of Olympia. Thank you so much. 50 years, wow. We celebrate 50 years of coming together on the principle that among diverse communities, we can find shared values, goals, and progress, even if we don't agree on everything. We agree that humanity and dignity and care for each other matters deeply as we build a world that prioritizes love, safety, and justice. We are stronger together when we show up and listen, especially when it's hard to do so. Tonight, we thank everyone who's contributed to getting us to this monumental point in our history. Special thanks to our faith and spiritual communities who make up our membership, all of our 84 employees who work 24/7 to make our services available day in and day out, and to the hundreds of volunteers and donors who give time, money, and support to our work each day. And while IW's history spans much further than my just over a decade with the organization, I can't help but find the timing of this recognition truly remarkable tonight. 11 years ago this very week, we announced at a council meeting that we were going to pull out of a promising location to transition our volunteer-run women's shelter to a year-round shelter for all genders due to strong community opposition. This was after that same year, in January of 2013, when the City Council originally adopted the camping ban ordinance that tonight you are voting to amend and expand to include city rights of way. We were forced to pull out of that location, as well as many others that year, because while we had a lot of support at the time, many in the community were extremely opposed to a shelter like ours opening at all. And we didn't have the votes on council to open anywhere. Some of you remember this incredibly divisive time in our community and were there. Interfaith Works does not shy away from divisive topics, and we tried to find a way through like we always do. Our community was steeped in the belief that while some people experiencing homelessness deserved help, most of them were being spoken about at that time as dangerous, drug addicts, sex offenders, and felons who were coming into our community from the outside to make everything less safe, especially for children. Sound familiar to some dialogue that we have today going on? As we still do today, at that time, we were doing everything we could to help the community understand that people living outside and in shelters were in danger, and that the more access to resources people receive, regardless of their circumstances, the safer our whole community will be. And as my old friend Dude Man once said, the further people get pushed to the margins, like a rubber band, they'll snap. People who are given desperate options can make desperate choices to survive. And we must continue to fight for a world in which the options people have are plentiful, dignified, humane, and based in the reality of fundamental human needs: to belong, to be seen, to be loved. Additionally, September is Suicide Awareness Month, and tonight I remember that very friend, Derek Dudeman McDougall, who took his own life on August 31st, 2013, after being criminally banned from downtown Olympia with the now thankfully less used exclusion order practice that was a more common response to certain people experiencing homelessness who were particularly visible in the downtown area. He was specifically excluded from his community, his safety net, and most available resources in the county at that time because he was seen as a major nuisance. He struggled with mental health and addiction challenges and had experienced an immense amount of trauma throughout his life. The isolation exacerbated his already struggling heart and mind, and he saw no other way out but to take his own life. In 2013, the point in time count was taken the same month as that ordinance was originally passed. That year, we had 230 unsheltered people outside and 664 total people experiencing homelessness counted. In the last 11 years, we've seen a world of change in terms of investment in solutions that have been shown to be effective in reducing homelessness, despite the continued rise in housing costs and wages not keeping pace. Much of that work due to your leadership. Thank you. At that time in 2013, the camping ban, sit-lie ordinance, aggressive panhandling, exclusion orders, and alcohol impact areas were all legal actions taken to restrict the behavior and movement of people living outside in political hopes that perhaps they would lessen over time. Today, 11 years later, in January 2024, we had 417 unsheltered people outside and 864 total people experiencing homelessness counted. The point in time count is just one imperfect metric, as we know, but I wonder what metric will you use to determine whether the further restriction of movement and criminalization of homelessness will increase the likelihood of positive outcomes for our shared goal, that people will be safely housed, cared for, and that our community as a whole will be better off, or if it will further place barriers in the way of people getting the support that they need. I do not envy the seats you occupy in our community, and I truly thank you deeply for the hard work that you do to make Olympia a better place for everyone to live. I also appreciate how far we've come together over the years towards a shared understanding that we're all better off when everyone in our community has their basic human needs met without precondition, that our community of people living outside are as diverse and beautiful as everyone living inside. Children, elders, people with disabilities, people who are college educated, former or current business owners and employees, artists, musicians, and just like thousands and thousands living indoors in Thurston County, some struggle with mental health and addiction challenges for which they need support and access to resources, not jail time and citations. I'm proud of how far we've come together, and I look forward to continuing this path. We will be celebrating our 50th this coming Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd. Tickets are still available on our website, interfaith-works.org/events. Everyone's invited. And we have our special 50th historical booklets for the council tonight. Thank you very, very much for this special recognition and for giving me the time to speak to you tonight. Our long-term partnership really means the world, and I'm truly grateful. Thank you. Let me bring those booklets to you. Okay.
Yeah, we'll actually come get them from you.
Okay.
But first, I'd like to ask if the council has any comments or questions. I see a hand from Councilmember Parsley and Councilmember Gilman, followed by Councilmember Vanderpool. There's going to be a lot of followed by, so let's go ahead and get a couple in.
Yeah. In 2017, I sat across the street with you and you opened my eyes to the problems and the realities. I will be forever in your debt because what you taught me is you cannot arrest away homelessness. You cannot just move people around and expect them to disappear. That the only way to fix homelessness is to fix it, is to build what we are starting to build now. And I know we have a long ways to go, but it's a commitment that we have made as a city. And I can say that my gratitude goes to Interfaith for being a partner every step of the way. And I remember that tumultuous first part of my council in 2018 when we finally came around to declaring a state of emergency for homelessness. And your partnership and Interfaith's partnership as we worked with our community to build the one community plan that our previous mayor was asked out by the Biden administration to present to his homelessness initiative. So just gratitude for Interfaith, for working with us and for always being a partner, and specifically to you because you've helped us be a better version of ourselves.
Thank you, Councilmember Gilman, followed by Councilmember Vanderpool.
Thank you for your words tonight. And I both celebrate and I'm so glad for all of the human service work. And I also want to appreciate that this council has entered into the Charter for Compassion, other responses to othering and hate that were led by concerned clergy and by the program council, the faith communities together at Interfaith Works. So we've also had social justice work, unity work that has influenced the city very much through 50 years of Interfaith Works work together to make room for everybody in our community. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I just want two little memories that were jogged in the last, actually this morning and over the weekend. I was preparing for to set up a meeting in Koinonia Hall at First Christian Church. And so there were some broken partition dividers and some gouges in the wall that were reminding me of really full, energetic, both cooling and warming shelter times in that space, that it was wild, full of love, and a warm, dry place. I'm really excited about that. And this morning, as I was walking downtown to a meeting, somebody hollers at me from across the street. He's out picking up trash along the street. And he says, "Councilman, it's me, Mr. Thomas. I'm back after 3 years." And he comes across and gives me a great big hug. And you know, that's somebody who through your work feels like he belongs in the street, that he should help out by picking up, and that he has a place in city council coming in to make his comments. And I really cherish that a lot. So thank you and congratulations on 50 years. And I'm looking forward to the event on Saturday.
Thank you, Councilmember Clark. I don't remember anything breaking at First Christian though. Do you, Thierry? So I'm not sure what you're talking about with that one.
Councilmember Vanderpool.
First off, I want to thank you for coming and speaking on the issues and doing the services you do for this community. I mean, if it wasn't for what you do, we wouldn't be where we are, right? I just 100% appreciate what you do. I will be there on Saturday. I am looking forward to that, and I'm one of the words that stuck out to me was humane. That came up a few times because, you know, the only way we can get through any of this is by humane policy, by considering what methods we choose to go by and what ways we can help people have to have a humane principle at the end of the day. We really do, because if we don't, we're not going to be able to get where we need to get. So thank you again.
All right, we have Mayor Payne followed by Councilmember Cooper.
Yes, congratulations on 50 years. It's just such a big deal. And, you know, as the saying goes, calling us to our higher angels. And Interfaith Works is such a critical partner to the city of Olympia in the sense that you do quite well at calling us to our higher angels, but not just your local government, but also community members. You know, making sure that we do not forget the humanity of the people that we are serving, including our homeless residents, is the most important thing that we can be doing as we approach the work that we are doing to house them. And you should feel very, very proud of yourselves for being a critical partner to us. In the last 6 years or so, we've been able to house hundreds of people who are out in the streets of our community. And that is certainly in part because of your efforts and your work. So congratulations to you. And I hope you leave tonight feeling all the sense of gratitude from the city of Olympia for the work that you're doing. And we look forward to working with you for the next 50 years.
Councilmember Cooper.
I'm struggling a little bit, so I'm going to make sure I have my thoughts. First of all, just congratulations, Interfaith Works. 50 years is awesome. It doesn't say it here, but I'm pretty sure you started the food bank, and that's significant as well. And, you know, my experience with Interfaith Works before Meg came there and my time there is it's pretty much the gold standard for nonprofits in our community. I've worked with and been around a lot of them. And when, like, just today, actually, I was meeting with a new Olympian who, you know, they call council members to help get connected and ask, how can I volunteer? Sometimes you've probably done like those kind of calls with people, and she wanted to know where to volunteer. And the first thing I said was Interfaith Works. It's the best place to spend your time. It's the best place to get connected in the community. Earlier this summer, I had the opportunity to go to a house of faith in our community that was a founder of Interfaith Works and is no longer a member. They wanted to know from the city council member, what could they do to help? I said, join Interfaith Works to their congregation. And I think they're talking about it. And so I just want to challenge anybody that's in any faith situation that your faith should be part of Interfaith Works, because as I think somebody said in this chambers recently, our differences are and always will be the greatest thing about our nation. And Interfaith Works embodies that. To me, that's just so important. All week, the meeting at SPSCC that we had about housing and homelessness has been rattling around in my head. And I had no idea that we were so close to kind of those anniversaries. And Like I never thought in my life when I ran for city council that I would spend my first 2 years crying at work and out of work, trying to figure out what to do, trying to wrestle with two terms that don't match, accountability and compassion. I even found myself defending that about tonight's vote this afternoon with a friend. And I just need to say thank you, Meg, for the partnership. I remember the first time that you walked in here, and I'll never forget it. I did not have a good thought. But she's real with us, just like Interfaith Works, real with the community, real story, what we need to hear. And I'm really glad that you came tonight and told us what we needed to hear also. Thank you for your service, and thank you for all of the work that you're doing and the blood and sweat and tears that you and your staff and your volunteers and your clients put into our community. We see you and we appreciate you.
All right. Well, I know many council members, you ended off with an invitation, and I know many council members are looking forward to being in attendance with you this weekend and continuing this celebration. With that, I just thank you both so much for being here tonight and sharing your words, and ask that I would love what you have in your hand, and I would also love to give you this proclamation, and if we could take a photo, that would be lovely.
Thank you all so much.